My name's Laura Heary, and welcome to Blog 1 on what I think professionalism in the early years entails. Professionalism has several different definitions and is dependent on who you ask. To some, being professional means abiding by the setting's codes of conduct, whereas to others it might mean ensuring that your knowledge is put into practice every day with passion and enthusiasm. Carrilla deliberated that professionalism is a multifaceted, multi-level phenomenon which involves several different aspects. With so many aspects to professionalism, Carrilla recognised it can be quite difficult to define. Brem echoed this in her research, identifying several aspects to professionalism, including parameters, behaviours and responsibilities, as three of those key aspects, identifying they all need to work together to be professional. The early years foundation stage and Ofsted set out numerous key points of professionalism and recognised that not only being professional, but working alongside other professionals is a key role of the early years practitioner. The Every Child Matters initiative identified this as one of the key factors of being an early years practitioner, and the early years foundation stage stated it was one of the most effective ways to care for the children in the setting. Having a professional working relationship with other professionals allows settings to have a holistic overview of the child and allows them to give the child the best possible opportunities for development. It's also vitally important when working with children with additional needs or those families that need some extra support. Sharing information also enables practitioners to comply with the early years foundation stage, which gives guidance on sharing information. The definition of professionalism also differs from setting to setting and can be dependent on the ethos of the setting. The setting I work in prides itself on being an inclusive school that will provide the best possible care and education for the children. The setting provides each member of the staff with the list of their roles and responsibilities that they are expected to adhere to be professional. My current role is a teaching assistant level 3, and at present I undertake most of the roles that the teacher undertakes, with a few exceptions. However, as I'm employed as a level 3 teaching assistant, there may be times where I'm asked to cover for the teacher in her absence. I feel that this shows on my part that the head teacher is more than happy with the way I work and views me as equally professional as the teacher, even though I don't hold the same level of qualification. Keeping my knowledge up to date and also showing willingness to do so is an important aspect of being professional. Recognising where I need to develop my own practice and how I can do so is also associated with being professional. Using aids such as Kolb's learning cycle to reflect upon practice shows a level of professionalism that early years workers are required to have. The study of early education and development stated self-reflection to be a hallmark of good practice. The setting provides continual professional development training opportunities for all staff, including but not limited to in-house and external training. The viewpoints and opinions of staff are not limited to those in senior roles, but are discussed openly in professional manners at staff meetings, which all staff are expected to attend. My current setting also allows the early years team to have departmental meetings where we are able to make specific targets for each areas of development or change. We're also able to identify things we're doing well and praise each other's efforts. We recently had a practitioner from another setting observe our practice, and while she knew that we had a mix of teachers and teaching assistants, she relayed to us that the level of knowledge and professionalism from all staff was highly commendable and definitely advantageous to the children in our care. Staff also have regular meetings with senior management to discuss personal targets they wish to achieve, both work and non-work related. These targets are given timeframes and reviewed accordingly. I feel that a supportive management team that aids you in setting targets regularly and being able to self-reflect is a key part of being professional. I have personally attended several training workshops over the course of my career to constantly keep me up to date with the latest legislation and training. Each year I have to undertake safeguarding training and have recently attended training provided by LCLAN to further develop my knowledge and understanding of the development of language in children. I've been able to reflect upon this course and make changes to my practice to give children in the setting better opportunities. Sean's reflective cycle is also an important tool of reflection and one that an early years practitioner can really utilise. I often have the opportunity to sit and evaluate actions with the teacher and identify any areas of change. For example, identifying action in practice where an activity may need adapting to suit a children's need. In Nutt Brown's report, she observed the need for a highly skilled and highly qualified workforce, which was also echoed by the Children's Workforce Development Council. They believe this would improve the lives of children, young people and adults. The introduction of the early years teacher status was put into place to recognise this level of professionalism within the sector. However, with no guarantee of the same wage as a practitioner with qualified teacher status, there's been a decline in the number of people enrolling onto the qualification. This could be due to lack of funding available to settings to be able to afford the same wage to match that of a qualified teacher, or it could be due to the fact it can be quite disheartening to practitioners that after completing a set of targets that reflect those of a qualified teacher, the job still isn't viewed as professional. This can lead to a high turnover of staff, which can be detrimental to both setting and the children in their care due to a lack of continuity. Balby linked continuity and reliability to good child development, and it's also good practice within the early years foundation stage. Having the ability to apply the knowledge and pedagogy into practice, alongside providing the caring and nurturing environment for babies and young children, is a real skill that mustn't be overlooked. If staff were paid according to their qualifications and level of experience, in my opinion, this would lead to a higher rate of retention, which was one of the factors identified in the Early Years Workforce Strategy publication. Moyles explored the idea that early years workers are faced with a paradox. On one hand, needing to be caring and passionate about their profession, but these same attributes prevent practitioners from being considered professional. Many view early years workers, especially those who work in the private sector, to be underskilled and definitely not professional. Shepherd wrote that colleges were so desperate to fill their places they would accept anyone onto the course, leaving those with real skill and passion to defend their professionalism within the sector. Brock noted there was a real drive to define what professionalism is in the early years, and the emphasis on the competencies of what constitutes being professional has somewhat forgotten attributes that an early years practitioner actually needs. Like Brock, I feel that basic qualities of an early years practitioner have been omitted from these standards, which are there to reflect professionalism. Qualities such as passion for the early years and the values and beliefs of practitioners have not been taken into consideration. Brock notes that these attributes are just expected of practitioners rather than added to a set of standards to show what is required of them professionally. Smith, like Brock, also identified the need for the views and opinions of the early years workforce to be listened to, whilst implementing policy and standards that they should adhere to. I feel this is vitally important, as early years workers work with the children every single day, and their views and opinions really should be taken into account. I believe another aspect of being professional is working effectively with parents. Providing a non-judgmental environment where you're able to discuss children's learning and development is vitally important. Working alongside parents is embedded in the Early Years Foundation Stage document and many other documents that early years practitioners adhere to, and it's identified as good practice throughout. It's also, in my opinion, one of the main characteristics of being professional. Overall, I believe there are so many different characteristics to being professional. Personally, a love of working with children in early years has to be one of the main factors, as it's a both physically and mentally demanding job. So many colleagues have reiterated the fact to me that it takes a certain type of person to work in the early years, and that it's definitely a role that should be viewed as professional rather than just playing all day long. I believe that qualifications are important, however real life experiences and hands-on practice are also just as important, as the role changes on a day-to-day basis and the need for adaptable staff shows a level of commitment that is required of an early years practitioner. Government legislation and standards need to reflect these attributes in their work in order to show what is really required of an early years practitioner. Being able to complete a number of tasks at the same time whilst providing age-appropriate activities and encompassing the holistic development of the child is a real skill that definitely requires a professional individual, and one that many overlook. This is a perception that definitely needs to change.